Mother dies pregnant, then her husband sees something strange. When the doctors in the delivery room realized with this infant had done, they couldn't keep their screams down. In an interview with the Arizona Daily Star, Dr. Hannibal, a doctor at the hospital, broke his lengthy silence and recounted what he and his entire medical team had to watch that horrible night in the delivery room. Something horrific happened in that room, and they were left entirely paralyzed as a result. Daniela Falcon was the name of the woman who had arrived at the hospital at that time. She arrived with a huge smile and enthusiasm, just like all the other women that came to the maternity area, and she was accompanied by her husband, who was never separated from her at any point. The man was obviously head over heels in love with his wife, and he was exceedingly protective of her in every aspect. As a representative throughout the process, he made sure that she didn't miss a single consultation. She was there for the long-awaited routine ultrasound, which would provide them with information about the health of their adorable baby. When the doctor was finally able to see the young boy on the screen, he couldn't keep the look of surprise off his face, which caused the couple to become concerned right away. He didn't say anything to them for a long time, which just served to heighten the anxiety of those bereaved parents even further. The doctor, on the other hand, called some of his colleagues to find out what was going on because he'd never seen anything like this before while performing an ultrasound. They, on the other hand, were unable to overcome his reservations. The mother could no longer endure her agony any longer, and she broke down and sobbed as she asked the doctor what was wrong with her child, a question to which the doctor himself was stumped for an answer because it was the first time he'd ever seen a baby who was only a few months old and twice the size of a typical baby. He advised the parents to remain calm and stated that he would begin exams much more closely to monitor growth, since he believed that everything will work out in the following few months if they remain calm. In his case, the doctor's assumptions were incorrect because the baby was developing at an irregular rate, and within a short period of time, the lady was already carrying a fully abnormal belly for a pregnant woman, which still knows how small the kid was in her womb. The doctors didn't lose hope and attempted to stop the growth of the tumor with a variety of treatments, but they were unsuccessful, and as time went on, not only was the health of the child jeopardized, but also that of the mother, whose entire body was tortured as a result of the tremendous weight bearing down on her, and her organs were displaced, producing issues in her system. As a result, the woman was compelled to remain in the hospital until an intervention could be performed. Of course, Francisco, the baby's father, was quite concerned about his wife's well-being. It was she who brought light his existence, and if forced to pick, he would choose her over everyone else. He was under the impression that with the passage of time, they would be able to have additional children. He, on the other hand, was not willing to put his relationship in peril. She, on the other hand, couldn't think of anything else besides the kid she was carrying in her belly. The woman had cherished that being from the moment she discovered she was expecting a child, and would not allow anything or anyone to cause him any damage during her pregnancy. Because of this, she decided to face her husband, defend her son's life, telling him that she would suffer the pregnancy as long as she possibly could, in order for her child to be born healthy and strong. As a result, when the woman reached during the 7th month of pregnancy, the doctors determined that they could no longer wait any longer because her son had grown to such a large size that she could no longer breathe comfortably. So they removed her from the delivery room and performed a cesarean section right away. After practically being sedated, the woman started screaming for her husband, who had refused to accompany her into that lunacy because he was frightened of losing her. But she needed him, and her screams compelled him to enter that area where, upon seeing her, he felt his world crumble. She was the love of his life, and she was about to put her life in danger for the sake of her child. Make a promise to me that you'll look after him. Make a promise to me that you'll love him just as much as I do. The man couldn't keep his emotions from streaming down his face because it sounded like a farewell. He was unable to make such a guarantee. He wouldn't do it if it meant risking her life. Consequently, he was unable to tell her everything. After the anesthetic took effect and everything went dark, she looked at him with desperation for a few moments longer. The physicians did everything they could to put things right, but sadly, when they were ready to deliver the baby, Mother suffered a number of difficulties due to the baby's big size. She battled with everything she had, but it wasn't enough, and she passed away at the end of the battle. Everyone was taken aback by the appearance of the tiny boy, whose stature was so enormous that it was virtually impossible for his mother to survive such a birth. Doctors had earlier told them that they had no hope, but she had decided to put herself in danger for love, and so that dreadful fate was essentially foretold in advance. Suddenly, a horrific scream rang out throughout the building, sending the husband into a trance. No one could have predicted the man's reaction, which included insulting his own son while hugging his wife, who was not longer in the room with him. The man threw everyone out of the room and sobbed, pleading with the authorities to remove his kid from the premises, because the small child had taken away the love of his life. Everyone in the room was taken aback by what had happened. For Dr. Hannibal, who had to care for the young one for several days, this is the most important thing. His father, on the other hand, didn't want to see him, much less recognize him. He had simply left with his wife, and they had not heard from him or seen him again while they were in that location. It was with sadness that the doctor gazed at the young boy who had served as the catalyst for the existence of that woman, but who would unhappily share in the same fate of so many other children were abandoned in that area. After that, he'd be placed in the orphanage where he would not receive the affection that his mother could have provided him. Someone entered the area just before it was too late for the little kid, who lost his mother and also his father abandoned him. When the doctor turned around, he was taken aback that next to him was Francisco. Appeared to be much better recovered than before. After smiling at the little boy, the doctor asked him if he'd be willing to carry him. The doctor assured him that of course he did and handed it along to the patient. After saying this, the father burst into tears and burst into laughter. At the same moment, he said, "I don't know how I can abandon you when you look so much like her. It's difficult for me to forsake you when she cared for you so much that she devoted her life to you." And it moved the doctor to tears. And he never forgot the anguish and love that he saw in the eyes of that man who went with his young one, but not before looking up at the sky and promising himself to his wife seconds before they fell asleep. For the last time in their lives, I swear to you that I will love and care for him with all my heart, just as I would have done for him. He is my new love of mine life, and I will do everything in my power to make you proud of him. Friends, this is how yet another story comes to a close. We sincerely hope you enjoyed it. God places unpleasant situations in our path on a regular basis, and we must learn to deal with them because we're forced to ask ourselves why things happen on a regular basis and face them with love, acknowledging His many blessings, and expressing gratitude for everything that He does for us. Please accept our thanks for joining us. One more. I want to give you a big hug and wish you the best until next time. Bye.